and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. It is Sunday, February 27th, 2022. Welcome to the African History Network show. Well, look, it's been a very busy weekend. It was a very busy week. Okay, we'll talk some about that. I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered twice this week. Usually I'm a panelist just on Friday, but I was on Tuesday as a panelist and Friday. And I was I taught my online classes this weekend, today and on Saturday. And then I also did a presentation for the Empowerment Church in Southfield on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Then turned around and taught a 2-hour online class at 2 p.m. So it's been very busy. On our show Thursday, we talked about the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And so far, there have been probably close to about 400 people killed, Ukrainians. And it's a tragedy that's taken place. We know that the U.S. is going to impose sanctions on Putin following Ukraine invasion. We're going to give you an update on what's taking place. Things are changing by the minute. But one of the things I want to focus on is something that I've been watching MSNBC all weekend, pretty much when I wasn't teaching. One of the stories that I have not seen really covered on MSNBC or like a lot in mainstream media, NBC News, things like this, is the plight of African students who are in Ukraine and who are trying to get out. Now, I've seen a number of different stories online from Al Jazeera, from I posted one earlier today from Reuters.com. I just posted one on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, from Al Jazeera. There was one from BusinessInsider.com I was reading earlier today. Also one from BET News. And so this is something that's not talked about a lot. This particular story here from Al Jazeera from February 27, 2022, Sunday. The Nigerian students caught in the Russia-Ukraine war. The Nigerian students caught in the Russia-Ukraine war. Students scramble to leave Ukraine as the conflict intensifies, reaching new cities. Now, there's video I saw on D.L. Hughley's Instagram page. There's video of some Africans. Now, it was a handful. I don't know the exact amount, but there was some Africans who were on a bus trying to get out of Ukraine, and they're being pulled off the bus. Different things like that. We're hearing different stories. But once again, this deals with racism that exists in various European countries. Okay, now this is Russia should not have invaded. Putin is a thug. Okay, we know this, and Ukraine will prevail against Russia. But at the same time, we don't want Africans oppressed either. We want Africans discriminated against and harmed either. Okay, and this is one of the things that's not being really talked about a lot. There was this piece from Reuters from a couple days ago. I'm going to pull up here. This one from Al Jazeera just came out today. We're going to talk about this on today's show. This is one of the topics we'll talk about on today's show. This other one from Reuters came on the 25th. And this one is African students stuck in Ukraine seek refuge or escape route. African students stuck in Ukraine seek refuge or escape route. Now, so far, there have been about 150,000 Ukraine refugees. Okay, so far it's been about 150,000 Ukraine refugees. Some of them are going into Poland, things like this, right? And I'm hearing talk about Ukraine refugees coming to the U.S. possibly. Okay, don't know for certain. I'm hearing estimates from experts that it could be up to, say, about 5 million Ukraine refugees, right? Okay, so hypothetically, whatever the number is that comes to the US, hypothetically, okay, they need to let African students who are fleeing from the same conditions in Ukraine come to the US as well. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to do this. I'm just saying what you're not going to do is say the African students can't come, but the people of Ukraine can come and they're fleeing from the same conditions. That's the point I'm trying to make. Now, this piece here from Reuters. This is from February 25th from Reuters.com. This was one African student who was interviewed. He said, "You're on your own. You're on your own. African students stuck in Ukraine seek refuge or escape route." Okay, this is from February 25th, 2022. African students stuck in Ukraine seek refuge or escape route. And you have thousands of African students who are there because they're medical students, for one. All right. Part of the article says here that cities under siege across Ukraine are home to tens of thousands of African students studying medicine, engineering, and military affairs. Studying medicine, engineering, and military affairs. Now, what's interesting is all the coverage I've seen since Thursday, because we talked about this on our Thursday show, because Russia invaded Thursday morning. We talked about this on our Thursday show, and all the coverage. And let me tell you, okay, so since I was up late. I was up late Friday morning. I was up late Friday night preparing my Black History Month presentation for the Empowerment Church in Southfield Saturday morning, 10 a.m. So I got to bed at 2 a.m. Saturday morning, Friday night going to Saturday morning, 2 a.m. I got up at 4 a.m. to keep working on the presentation that I had to deliver at 10 a.m. So I had MSNBC on all night, and they were doing live coverage throughout the night into the early morning of what's going on in Ukraine. I ain't hear one story about African students, medical students, engineering students, things like this. I ain't hear one story about this. I didn't even hear one story about this. And I still haven't heard one on MSNBC. Now, maybe on Monday they'll cover this. Okay. But I still haven't heard any stories about this. Now, I want to flip back over to this one here from Reuters. Cities under siege across Ukraine are home to tens of thousands of African students studying medicine, engineering, and military affairs. Morocco, Nigeria, and Egypt are among the top 10 countries with foreign students in Ukraine. Morocco, Nigeria, and Egypt, okay, are among the top 10 countries with foreign students in Ukraine. Now, for those who may be geographically challenged, Egypt is still in Africa. I know there's some people that want to make you think Egypt is not in Africa, is part of the fictitious Middle East, things like that. Egypt is and always has been in the continent that we call Africa. It's been called other things as well. Together supplying over 16,000 students, according to the education ministry. Thousands of Indian students are also trying to flee. Okay. Now, I don't want any harm to come to anybody. Okay. Except maybe the ones invading it, because they ain't had no business doing that. Okay. Putin's a thug. They ain't had no business doing that. But at the same time, it's like, wait a second. How's it you're not talking about the Africans? Now, on the Black News Channel, because they do the Black News Channel, especially like Mark Lamont Hill on his show, it comes on Monday through Friday, Black News Tonight. He does talk about the African diaspora, things like this. He does talk about what's going on in the continent of Africa. He'll probably cover this story. But I've yet to see this on MSNBC. What was meant to be a cheaper alternative to studying in Western Europe or the United States has turned into a war zone as Russian tanks, planes, and ships launched the biggest European invasion of another nation since World War II. Okay, as Russian tanks, planes, and ships launched the biggest European invasion of another nation since World War II. So we're going to talk about this. This will be one of the topics we deal with on today's show. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson being nominated by President Joe Biden to be the first African-American woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll discuss that. I'll share a segment from Roland Martin Unfiltered, one or two segments as well. We talked about the Black farmers earlier in the week. And also, we'll talk a little bit about African-American History Month and this year's annual theme, which is Black Health and Wellness. And I'll give you an overview of what we talked about this weekend in my online classes. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Stand by. Oh, yeah. Roland Martin to talk about this. I'm on Roland's show every Friday. Roland to talk about this tomorrow. Roland just got back from Liberia this week. So Roland to talk about that. I know Roland to talk about that. I'm talking about like MSNBC that's been covering this 24/7. How you doing, Denise? How's everybody doing? Okay, stand by. I got to get ready for this. I just woke up. I had to teach a 2.5 hour class today. Stand by. It's been a busy weekend. I'm going to sleep after the show's over with. Okay, who still needs to register for the online classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays? Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school, and from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement of Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Teach those on Saturdays and Sundays. We had a great class on Sunday. We had some new students also. How you doing? Okay, Denise. Denise said, I see you every Friday. She said, I know what time it is. Okay, I'm going to post a link here. You can register for this 10-week online class that I teach on Saturdays. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. The class is on sale, $80 regularly, $130. We do the sessions live. All the classes are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. So even a year from now, if you want to go back and watch the entire class, you can do that. It's archived. It'll be archived there for you. And back from break in 2 minutes. One commercial break. And the other class I teach is on Sunday. I teach from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. I taught that class today and ended up doing 2.5 hours. That's one of the reasons why I'm tired. Back from break in 1 minute. Okay, we got to get this first clip. So we have a bundle pack. You can register for both classes for only $120. That's a $260 value for $120. Or you can register for them individually. Now, if you've taken any of my online classes in the past, email me at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and you'll get 50% off. Stand by. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, February 27th, 2022. I'm trying to figure out which day it is. I'm on the air almost every day. So I'm like, okay, it's Sunday, February 27th, 2022, and we are live. This has been a very busy Black History Month. We'll talk about that some. I did a presentation. I taught 2 classes this weekend and did 1 presentation. So it's been busy. Okay. And then I spoke for Tech Town earlier this week on Tuesday. I was on a panel discussion dealing with reparations on Wednesday for Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered twice this week. It's been busy. All right. You can still register for the online classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. We had two great classes this weekend. Had some new students in the class also. On Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I teach ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We can't start studying our history and slavery, so we deal with the African presence in the Americas dating back at least 56,000 years ago. And in the land we call the United States of America, going back at least 51,700 years ago. Because when you read The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence by Dr. David Imhotep, you'll know that African people have been in this land we call the United States of America for at least 51,700 years, even before Native Americans came into existence. This is why when I deal with Black History Month is entirely different than what people used to hearing. This is a 10-week online class. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded, so you can go back and watch it anytime. As soon as you register, you can watch the class we did this weekend. We dealt with a lot of information. And the class is on sale $80, regularly $130. On Sundays, I teach from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement of Black Power, 1865 to 1968. So the next classes are Saturday, March 5th and Sunday, March 6th. We have a bundle pack. You can register for both classes for only $120. There's also bonus content, bonus lectures you get from me as well. So we'll post a link here, and it's also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Okay, so we're going to clip one here in just a second, Jalen, from NBC News. So right before the break, we were talking about the tragedy that's taking place in Ukraine. All right. And I've seen a number of stories. I've been looking at the live updates from the Washington Post and New York Times since Thursday. And we'll look at some of that also, because they have like really good live updates. But one of the stories that I haven't really seen covered in on cable news, one of the stories I haven't really seen covered on cable news is the plight of African students in Ukraine. Okay. Al Jazeera has one of the most up-to-date articles on this. BET has an article that came out today. BusinessInsider.com has one as well. If we look at this one here from February 27th, 2022 from Al Jazeera. The Nigerian students caught in the Russia-Ukraine war. The Nigerian students caught in the Russia-Ukraine war. We know that talks are going to take place between Russia and Ukraine on Monday. Now I'll be interested to see what they say, because my thing would be you need to get your behind up out of here. You need to get out of Ukraine. Okay, there ain't a whole lot to talk about. All right. Students scramble to leave Ukraine as the conflict intensifies, reaching new cities. So if we look at this piece here, they talk about Lalad Lawal, who is a third-year medical student from Nigeria, and she's coming to terms with the effects of Russia's invasion of Ukraine that started last week, started on Thursday. That'd be pretty much Thursday, February 24th. She says it's scary, very scary. Hold on. She said it's scary, very scary. I'm worried. People are running for their lives. We are hiding in groups so we can keep an eye on each other. She told Al Jazeera over the phone as she sheltered with other students at a safe bunker in the northeastern city of Sumy. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump's buddy, okay, Trump's pen pal. I'm sure they've written love letters to each other since Trump left the White House. Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered what he said was a special military operation against Ukraine on Thursday, A full-scale invasion followed the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky declaring martial law, saying his country would defend itself, Now, you have people learning how to use AK-47s in Ukraine. You got people arming themselves with hammers and all types of things. Okay, you just have regular civilians. They have a conscription act enforced where men who are of fighting age, they say of 18 to 60, can't leave the country because they're going to have to take up arms and fight. These Ukrainian men, they're going to have to take up arms and fight. So this is creating a humanitarian disaster. Now on Saturday, which was February 26th, on Saturday, fighting reached the streets of Ukraine's capital of Kyiv as Russian troops pressed ahead. According to the U.S. military, Russia now has at least 50% of its estimated 150,000 strong invasion forces in Ukraine. We know that Germany is also going to send Ukraine some military equipment and missiles that they can use to shoot and stop these Russian tanks. The conflict has so far killed more than 200 civilians. I think it's updated since this, but this came out today. More than 200 civilians, including 3 children. Nearly 1,100 have been injured in the conflict, including 33 children, according to Ukraine's health ministry. The United Nations estimates more than 100,000 people have been displaced within the country since the conflict started. Now, they have a map here as well. You can check out this article from this is Al Jazeera, and they show a map here of where are Ukrainians fleeing to. More than 150,000 people have fled Ukraine into Poland and other neighboring countries in the wake of Russia's invasion. The UN Refugee Agency has said all men aged between ages of 18 to 60 have been banned from leaving the country to take up arms. Okay, as I stated. Okay, so they have a good map here, so we can see geography, and we know that Crimea was annexed. Crimea was annexed from Ukraine in 2014 by Russia, by the Putin as well. Now, there are no official figures on the number of African students currently studying in Ukraine. Okay, but Lalad Lawal, who is a Nigerian student, a third-year medical student from Nigeria, Lalad Lawal said, there are hundreds of us in our city. She said, at my university, there are about 100 Nigerian students. I'm sheltering with some of them. I'm sheltering with some of them. Now, some students have managed to cross the border into Poland. Okay. And it doesn't like me when I try to highlight this. Some students are have crossed into Poland, have managed to cross into Poland. Now, there are other reports that some students are, some Africans are being blocked from passing into Poland. Okay. I live in Kyiv. I have been living here since March 1st. Samto Ora, O-R-A-H, a student at the at State University of Telecommunications in Kyiv, told Al Jazeera, we have received no support from any government authorities, quote unquote. We have received no support from any government authorities. The school only gave us bomb shelter to hide when the air raid siren is on. The sirens come on and off for about 5 minutes. The sirens come on and off for about 5 times yesterday before I left. Now, Aura is a Nigerian national. There is little food. I couldn't access cash for 2 days. Every ATM on the road has no cash. So I was watching people flee from Ukraine. There's a run on the ATMs there. ATMs are running out of cash. There are grocery stores that have run out of food or have very little food also. So you have a humanitarian disaster, definitely, that's taking place. But one of the things that's getting very little coverage is the plight of Africans who are in the Ukraine and the hell that they're catching. Okay. Calling numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, stand by. Okay, I'm going to post the information here. You can register for the online class I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Stand by just a second here. Okay, share this broadcasting on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. Okay, we're going to post this here. All right. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Back from break in 4 minutes. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcasting on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network. Also, $ the AHN show through Cash App. $ the AHN show through Cash App. Also through PayPal. PayPal.me/the AHN show. Is that the new one? Okay, that's the old one. All right, back from break in 2 minutes. Stand by. There's a piece from Business Insider. Okay, back from break in 1 minute, everybody. One commercial break. Back from break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, February 27th, 2022, and we are live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Also, we're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. So follow us there, watch us there as well, turn on live notifications so you know when we go live on our broadcast. All right. Also, if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network. $ the AHN show through Cash App. $ the AHN show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/TheAHNShow. We are 6 days a week. And so just keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting. So on the homepage of our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, we have the information there as well. Okay. All right. And we have the link there for Cash App. Okay. I want to go back to this. We'll go to the phone lines here in just a minute. So guys, just stand by. We'll go back to the story in just a second. So BusinessInsider.com has this article. We're going to go back to the one from Al Jazeera here in just a second. I was looking at these different stories today after I taught my class. That was from about 2 to about 4:30 today. Thousands of Africans who went to Ukraine to train to become doctors and engineers scrambled to escape the Russian offensive. Now, this is from BusinessInsider.com, and this is from Saturday, February 6, 2022. Thousands of African students who went to Ukraine to train to become doctors and engineers scrambled to escape the Russian offensive. Okay, and I remember when Donald Trump talked about S-hole countries, things like this, right? But now Donald Trump is praising this thug Putin. You have Africans from African countries, from Nigeria, Morocco, Egypt, who are going to learn to become doctors, engineers, to better themselves, better their people, things like this. It's just interesting that, Donald Trump was at CPAC this weekend, praising Putin, but then he said, he supports the Ukrainian people, something to the effect he supports the Ukrainian people, but he talks about how Putin is smart and all this stuff. And no, you just Putin's little, well, we can't use that word on the radio, but it rhymes with witch. Okay. Ukraine is home to thousands of African students who come to study at affordable prices. Now they are trapped by the lightning Russian military invasion. Some embassies told the students to, quote unquote, save themselves as they could not help. Some embassies told the students to, quote unquote, save themselves as they could not help. As Russian forces invaded Ukraine on Thursday, February 24th, thousands of African students across the country found themselves trapped by the fighting and afraid for their safety. Corinne Sky, a 26-year-old medical student in Dnipro, told BusinessInsider.com that she has coordinated hundreds of African students across the country as they scramble to find a way out. She said, "I'm very afraid, very afraid. We're not getting any help from any of the embassies. They have pretty much just said, save yourselves." Okay. Now, it's very possible that 10 minutes before I came on the air, these embassies sent help. Hopefully they did. Business Insider, if that's the case, then update your story. This story came out yesterday. The story from Al Jazeera came out today. So now it's very possible these embassies will send help, but at the time that this happened, they had not. Okay, so I just want people. This is a very fluid story. This is changing minute by minute. Ukraine is home to thousands of African students who study medicine, engineering, and other technical fields at affordable prices compared with the rest of Europe and the United States. Morocco, Nigeria, and Egypt are in the top 10 countries with students in Ukraine, in total sending over 16,000 students to the country, according to the education ministry. Now, Vukil Lamini, a South African student, told Business Insider that when Russia launched its offensive on Thursday, she woke to the sounds of sirens and bombs. She said when the sirens would go off, we would run to the bomb-proof bunkers until the coast was clear. Okay, now she says she's now made her way to the Romanian border with the other South African students to try and leave the country. She said, we are several hours away from the border. Now, once again, this article is from Saturday, February 26th. Okay. She said, we are several hours away from the border and we are trying to stay calm. Right now, we are only traveling with our emergency bags that have our documents, and we have small bags with non-perishable goods and small water bottles. She said that African students are traveling in buses with flags so that Russians would not mistake their movements at night as a threat. As cities across Ukraine are attacked, many African students are feeling desperate and abandoned. There's a tweet here from Vakil Lamini. Pray for Ukraine. We would have loved to. This is the South African student. Okay. She said, pray here on Twitter. She said, I'm going to follow her on Twitter as well. This is from February 24th, 2:29 a.m. This tweet, pray for Ukraine. We would have loved to go back home. We can't. The airports are closed. We are evacuating from city to city and trying to leave the country on foot or by car. As foreigners in this country, we do not know what will happen next, but God will never leave us, not now. Okay. Now, it's quite possible that some of the Africans who we're reading about in these stories who couldn't get out or were on their way, it's possible that they made it safely, but some of them are still trying to get out. Okay, this is a very fluid story. Jalen, let's go to clip number 1 here. Now, this is dealing with day 4. On our Thursday show, we dealt with day 1 of the attack. This here is from this clip number 1. The battle for Ukraine capital rages on for a 4th night. Okay, let's go to this clip, Jalen. This is from Saturday, February 26th.
The capital is reeling, yet still in Ukrainian control. Forces bracing for more bloodshed. Today, taking stock of last night's battle while claiming it took out a Russian convoy. Early this morning, a ballistic missile struck an apartment building inside the city, killing 2 and injuring 6, according to emergency services. Gunfire at the scene, sending firefighters running for cover. What happened when they tried to push into the city?
They couldn't do anything.
Why?
Because our self-defense killed them. More of them are now killed.
By midday, the city was eerily quiet. Curfew coming into effect at 5 p.m. Anyone on the street could be considered an enemy. Residents staying inside, preparing for street battles, building Molotov cocktails in their basements while shielding from Russian missiles. The Ministry of Internal Affairs sharing this video of an attack on a Russian fuel truck. U.S. officials are urging the Ukrainian president to evacuate. I need ammunition, not a ride, Volodymyr Zelensky reportedly replied, posting this video this morning to show everyone he's still in the capital for the fight. It's our country. We will defend all of this, he says. Outside the capital, signs the country is getting ready for battle. We're more than 100 miles outside of Kyiv, and as you can see, the roads are pretty clear. There have been some checkpoints, armed Ukrainian military stopping cars, checking paperwork. On the highways, Ukrainians tearing down road signs so the Russians won't know where to go. Citizens filling sandbags and holding heavy weapons. In Kharkiv, an unexploded grad rocket embedded in the playground of a kindergarten. While in Kherson, this driver narrowly avoided a missile strike. Back in Kyiv, they insist they're going to win this war, even though some warn they may soon be surrounded and outgunned.
Mr. Putin needs to understand we are not his slaves. We know what to do, and we will kill his soldiers if he don't tell them to go out from our city and from our country.
But in the nation's darkest moments, signs of new life. Images of babies born in bomb shelters and makeshift hospitals. Hope for a country fighting for its future. Kyiv tonight is bracing for a full-on invasion. Already we're hearing reports of heavy artillery fire striking a children's hospital. Jose?
Okay, pause right there, Jalen. Okay, let's go to the phone line. We're going to go to Lamini, because I follow her on Twitter. Now we're going to go to some updates she has. But let's go to line one. Let's go to John. John, thanks for holding. Welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from, John.
Well, I'm calling from Detroit and the east side of Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit. Hotep, thank you for educating the people about the other so-called minority over in Ukraine. Now, the past week, they had some crime characters on the late night talk show. Where was Oprah? Where was John James? And they could do something too. That's what the right wing was talking about and so forth. And so I just
who said this? Who said this, John?
Them characters come on the talk show at night. One of them always stay down there with Chuck named Mark Levin.
Oh, okay.
And he was blabbing away. About he bought Black Lives Matter. He was hollering about where's Oprah?
No, the question they should ask is, why is Trump supporting Russia? And why is Trump praising Putin? And why do you have certain Republicans, especially those in the Senate, praising Russia? Why do you have Tucker Carlson on Fox News that's financed by corporate dollars, financed by corporations, and many of these corporations African Americans spend dollars with? Why is Tucker Carlson praising Putin? These are questions we should ask. Okay, hold the line, John. We'll come back to you just a second, okay? We're coming up on a break. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Bathroom break in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Mandatory commercial break. It said, okay, so Blue Ocean, you said many Ukrainians commented on the videos saying Africans should stay and fight the Russians. Yeah, but you have Ukrainians who are fleeing as well. You have Ukrainians who are fleeing also. But you can't, you can't discriminate against Africans in Ukraine, but then say, oh, you should stay and fight for Ukraine. Okay, stand by. I'm looking at these updates here. Damn. Okay, stand by. Back from break in 2 minutes. I'm looking at these updates here. So I'm looking at, I follow, I just started following Vakil Lamini on Twitter. She was quoted in the article from Business Insider, and they had her tweet. Now this tweet here is from today's 6:04. This is like about 3 hours ago. She said, this is what us blacks faced and are still facing. Can we play this? Okay. Is that a video? Black is seen as a weapon. I thought it was a video. Some Africans are still trying to get through as well and are still going through the same traumatic experiences. Okay, stand by, everybody. Back from break in 2 minutes. All right, you can support the African History Network, $, TheAHNShow through Cash App. And also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Be sure to register for the online history classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. As soon as you register, you can start watching the content because we have some classes archived there also. Stand by. Back from break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, February 27th, 2022, and we are live. Okay, we're going to go back to the phone line in just a second. I want to go to the Twitter page here of Vakil Lamini, who's a South African student in Ukraine trying to leave. We talked about her in the article from Business Insider. I'm looking at her tweets here. So this is a tweet from just a few hours ago from 6:04 p.m. February 27th. She said, "This is what us blacks faced and are still facing." She said, "More are still trying to get through, and it's the same racist cycle that keeps occurring. Some Africans are still trying to get through as well, and are still going through the same traumatic experiences." Okay. Okay. There's a tweet. She posted the picture of a tweet, and it said, I need to zoom in on this. Hold on. What does it say? Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Been here for, okay, I can't read what it says. I have to zoom in on it. Try this like this. Okay. Been here for close to 5 hours. They're letting trucks, cars, and Ukrainians enter in large numbers. We foreigners have to stand in the heavy snow for hours. Okay. All right. And then, okay, we'll see if we can give you some more updates from our Twitter page also. We'll go back to the article from Al Jazeera, Business Insider, and Reuters here in just a minute. I'm monitoring live updates here, and I need to refresh my screen. I'm looking at the live updates from the Washington Post. I have subscriptions that I pay each month to the Washington Post, New York Times, Reuters, Bloomberg. There's a number of different news outlets. Okay, so I'm looking at the live updates here from the Washington Post. And hold the line, John. We'll come back to you in just a second. Belarus preparing to join Russian invasion of Ukraine, U.S. officials say. So this is a breaking news story. I just got this alert. This is supposed to take place on Monday. The alert from the Washington Post said as soon as Monday, U.S. officials say. Belarus is preparing. This is reporting from the Washington Post. Let me increase the size of this here. Belarus is preparing to send soldiers into Ukraine in support of the Russian invasion in a deployment that could begin as soon as Monday, a U.S. administration official said Sunday evening. Quote, it's very clear Minsk is now an extension of the Kremlin, said the official who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive security development. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko is a close ally to Vladimir Putin. Early Sunday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine and Russia would conduct the first diplomatic talks since the Kremlin launched invasion at the Ukrainian border with Belarus. Okay, and I want to know what they're going to talk about. There really ain't a whole lot to talk about now. But you need to get your behind out of here and leave us alone. Quote, we will be happy if the result of these negotiations is peace and the end of war. Ukraine's ambassador to the United Nations said, reading a statement to reporters, quote, but I emphasize again, we will not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not give away an inch of our territory, end quote. Tensions continue to escalate, with Vladimir Putin stating Sunday that he had put his nuclear deterrence forces into alert. There's reporting from NBC News we posted on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, earlier today, dealing with that. We'll go to that article after we go to the phone lines again. With Putin stating Sunday that he had put his nuclear deterrence forces into alert, attributing the move to aggressive statements from the West, quote unquote. He's attributing the move to quote unquote aggressive statements from the West. The White House called the order an example of manufacturing threats that don't exist. Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, was on the Sunday show with Jonathan Capehart this morning. You can watch that full interview at msnbc.com. This is one of the things she talked about. The European Union, meanwhile, announced it would shut down airspace to Russian planes and finance weapons purchases to Ukraine, as several nations, including the United States, vowed to block the Kremlin's access to its sizable foreign currency reserves in the West and to cut off some Russian banks from the SWIFT financial messaging system. Those sanctions, the Washington Post reports, follow an emotional call from Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. Okay, we'll give you more updates throughout the show because there's more coming. Let's go back to the phone lines, and then we'll go back to the reporting of the African students who are trying to get out of Ukraine. Let's go back to John on line 1. John, welcome back to the African History Network show. Go ahead and finish your comment, John. Thanks for holding.
We lost John.
Okay, that may have been all John had to say, so that's cool. John's been calling my show for years, so that may have been all he had to say. Okay, who we have next, Jalen?
Next is Ann.
Ann, okay, Ann, welcome to the African History Network show. Ann, thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from.
I'm calling from North Carolina. First of all, I do enjoy listening to your talk show for years.
Oh, thanks,
I just got
Ann.
a quick question. Why is Russia invading Ukraine? How does all of that lead up to them deciding to invade Ukraine? And that's my question.
People suspect it's a power move from Putin. Remember, Putin annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014. He went in and took over Crimea, which is a portion of Ukraine. And people suspect this is now, some people suspect that he has declining mental health, one. Some of the statements and some of this rambling he's doing is not making sense. But two, people think this is a power move. He's been in power for 20 years. Not exactly sure how much longer he's going to be in power. So they look at this as a power move. Now he's using as a pretext. There was an article, and I got to find this article. I got 2 stacks of articles here that he's using as a pretext, lying, saying that he is getting rid of neo-Nazis in Ukraine, things like this. Now, Zelensky is of Jewish descent, president of Ukraine, number one. Number two is, how do you invade a country? Okay, this article here from the Washington Post. Putin says he will denazify Ukraine. Here's the history behind the claim. Okay, we're coming up on the break, and hold the line. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. These commercial breaks go by quickly. Okay, we've got SB. Okay, we got SB. We've got Courtney. All right. Fly Girl. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. (313-778-7600) is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Okay. Who still needs to register for the online history classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays? From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement, ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Stand by, everybody. Okay, back from break in 2 minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 1 minute.
(910 AM Superstation, a division of Adele Media. The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 AM Superstation or Adele Media.
All right. Welcome back to the African History Network show. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, Future Radio. We are in hour 2. Time goes by quickly. Now remember, we're here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to midnight, and Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the African History Network show. Be sure to visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information at our website. Also, if you like the type of historical information I share, you can register for my 10-week online classes. I teach dealing with history on the weekends. There are 2 of them I teach. You can join me in class live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. So even if you can't join us live, you can go back and watch the class anytime. Even a year from now, the class will still be there. You can go back and watch it. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Kemet's one of the original names for Egypt. The Maafa is a Kiswahili term that refers to our Holocaust, the great disaster, the transatlantic slave trade. This is a 10-week online class. I teach. We deal with thousands of years of history. We deal with ancient Africa, the Nile Valley region of Africa. We deal with ancient Kemet, Ta-Nehisi, Nubia, Ethiopia. We deal with Carthage, Namibia, Great Zimbabwe. It's a ton of information we deal with. We also deal with the African presence in the Americas going back tens of thousands of years as well. And then the other class I teach on Sunday is from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Okay, so we deal with history starting with the Louisiana Purchase of 1803 and the Haitian Revolution, and we deal with history through 1968. All right, so the class is on sale, $80, regularly $130. We have a bundle pack where you can register for both classes for $120. I just posted the link here on the thread of the broadcast. Is also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. If you've taken any of my online classes in the past, email me at TheAHNShow at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and you get a 50% discount here on the bundle pack. Okay, let's go back to this. We'll go to the phone lines here in just a second. So just hold the line, and we're going to try to get everybody's calls in. At the beginning of the hour, we were talking, beginning of last hour now, we were talking about thousands of African students who are studying engineering, studying medicine, things like this, are in Ukraine, and they're trying to get out. BusinessInsider.com has this article. Al Jazeera has one as well. A number of different outlets are reporting on this. BusinessInsider.com has this piece. Thousands of African students who went to Ukraine to train to become doctors and engineers scrambled to escape the Russian offensive. We're also giving you live updates from the Washington Post and New York Times as they come in, dealing with this very fluid national disaster story, international disaster story out of Ukraine. But what's not really being talked about a lot is the plight of African students in Ukraine, okay, and discrimination that they're facing and also trying to get out. I've seen very little coverage of this. I really haven't seen any in cable news, and I've been watching cable news. I watch cable news all day, every day. Now they'll probably talk about Mark Lamont Hill will probably talk about this on the Black News Channel on Monday. Roland Martin will talk about this as well on Monday, and Roland Martin Unfiltered. I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered twice this past week. I'm a panelist on Fridays. I was also on Tuesdays. Al Jazeera has this article, the Nigerian students caught in the Russia-Ukraine war. Students scramble to leave Ukraine as the conflict intensifies, reaching new cities. Okay. And we're going to go back here to Ann, who's on the phone lines. We'll let Ann finish her question, and then we'll go to this story dealing with Putin saying he will denazify Ukraine. Go ahead, Ann.
Well, I've already asked my question I was going to ask, but I do thank you for answering that, because I just want to know what was all that caused Putin to want to invade Ukraine, and I do thank you for answering my question.
Okay, no problem, man. Thanks for listening. Okay, you say you've been listening for years.
Thank you.
Did you say that you've been listening to me for years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you used to be on Black Anonymous with David Anderson.
Yeah, the Empowerment Radio Network with Dave Anderson and Warren Ballantyne. And Roland Martin. And Bev Smith. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Ann, keep listening, okay?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay, no problem. Thanks. All right. Yeah, that was like 2016. that was like 2015, 2016 when I was on the Empowerment doing Nasty Syndicated Radio. And I used to guest host Roland Martin's Nasty Syndicated Radio show. And I had my show also. All right. Now, this article here, we talked about this on Thursday's show. Okay, so go back and listen to go back and watch our Thursday, February 24th show. Putin says he will denazify Ukraine. Now, there's a lot of misinformation floating around with these simple Simon ass people on social media. A lot of these black dumbasses on social media just recirculating nonsense, have no clue what they're talking about. Putin is using this as a pretext to attack Ukraine, a sovereign nation. Okay. And one of the other things he did was talk about how Ukraine came about out of the former Soviet Union, and he doesn't recognize Ukraine as a sovereign nation and things like this, using this as a pretext to be able to attack Ukraine. Okay. So now one of the things that's taking place is a lot of people and it's speculated that Putin is frustrated with the resilience of the Ukrainian people and how they're fighting back. All right, now if we look at this article, and I need to close some of these tabs out because I got about 50 tabs open here in Google Chrome. Okay, let's try to close some of this stuff out. Okay, if we look at this article here from the Washington Post, and let me see, I think the article has been updated. Okay. Putin says he will denazify Ukraine. Here's the history behind that claim. All right. So Russian, and this is by Miriam Berger for the Washington Post, Russian President Vladimir Putin invoked the Nazis on Thursday when he announced his decision to launch a large-scale military operation in Ukraine. Now, it's important to understand when we talk about the International Day of Remembrance of the Holocaust, okay, which is January 27th, 1945, January 27th, 1945. The reason why that day is the National Day of Remembrance of the Holocaust is because that's the day that the Soviet Union liberates the they liberated the prisoners of the Auschwitz, Poland concentration camp. Okay, January 27th, 1945. There is a article here from history.com. I'm trying to pull this up here because we talked about this when on January 27th, when you had the International Day of Remembrance. We talked about this also when Whoopi Goldberg was suspended from The View for 2 weeks. And people didn't want to talk about the Afro-Germans who were killed during the Holocaust at the same time. So this is something that Putin is trying to hone in on. Well, it was the Soviet Union who liberated the Auschwitz in 1945. So he's saying, oh, we're going to denazify Ukraine. Okay. So let me see here. I want to find this here. This is at history.com. And that way we can connect the dots with this here. Okay, Soviets liberate Auschwitz. All right, this right here. Let me flip over to this. Just a second. Okay, this is from history.com. History.com is the official website of the History Channel. This day in history, January 27th, 1945, Auschwitz is liberated. Okay. On January 27th, 1945, Soviet troops entered Auschwitz, Poland, freeing the survivors of the network of concentration camps, Auschwitz I, Auschwitz II, Auschwitz III, and finally revealing to the world the depth of the horrors perpetuated there. Auschwitz was really a group of camps designated 1, 2, and 3. There were also 40 smaller satellite camps. It was at Auschwitz II at Birkenau, established in October 1941, that the SS created a complex, monstrously orchestrated killing ground, 300 prison barracks, 4 bathhouses in which prisoners were gassed, corpse cellars, and cremating ovens. Thousands of prisoners were also used for medical experiments overseen and performed by the camp Dr. Joseph Mengele, who was known as the Angel of Death. Okay, the Red Army, these are the Russians, the Soviet Union. The Red Army had been advancing deeper into Poland since mid-January. Having liberated Warsaw and Krakow, Soviet troops headed for Auschwitz. In anticipation of the Soviet arrival, SS officer began a murder spree in the camps, shooting sick prisoners and blowing up crematoria in a desperate attempt to destroy the evidence of their crimes. When the Soviet Union, the Red Army, when the Soviet Union soldiers finally broke through, Soviet soldiers encountered 648 corpses and more than 7,000 starving camp survivors. There were also 6 storehouses filled with hundreds of thousands of women's dresses, men's suits, and shoes that the Germans did not have time to burn. So what Putin is, when Putin says they're going to denazify Ukraine, what he is tapping into is when the Soviet Union went in to liberate the prisoners of the Auschwitz concentration camps during World War II, when they went into Auschwitz, Poland. Okay, but that's not what he's doing now. He's just a thug. Okay, that's not what he's doing now, but he's using that language as a pretext to then try to justify what he's doing. Okay, so Putin says, Washington Post, February 25th, 2022, Putin says he will, quote unquote, denazify Ukraine. Here's the history behind that claim. Okay, so The Russian leader said that one of the goals of the offensive was to denazify the country of Ukraine, part of a long-running effort by Putin to delegitimize Ukrainian nationalism and sell the incursion to his constituency at home. But you have protests by Russians in Russia protesting against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The rhetoric around fighting fascism resonates deeply in Russia, which made tremendous sacrifices battling Nazi Germany in World War II. Critics say that Putin is exploiting the trauma of the war and twisting history for his own interests. He's exploiting the trauma of World War II and twisting history for his own interests. Okay, we'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show. We'll talk some more about the African students in Ukraine that try to get out. We'll talk about Judge Ketanji Jackson being nominated to the U.S. Supreme Court. And we'll squeeze in some other topics as well. I'm Michael Imhotep. You listen to the African History Network show. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, stand by. How's everybody doing? Okay, how you doing, Becky, Josh, Matthew? All right. Okay, we got Lolita, Espy. Okay, stand by, everybody. Back from break in 3 minutes. Stand by, everybody. Back from break in 3 minutes. Okay. Stand by, everybody. Back from break in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. Okay, calling number is 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. I want to go back quickly here to this article from the Washington Post that we were talking about right before the break. We're going to go to clip 2 here, Jalen, in just a minute, and then we'll go back to the phone lines. Putin says he will denazify Ukraine Here's the history behind that claim. Okay, this ties into World War II and the Soviet Union soldiers liberating the prisoners in Auschwitz, Poland, from the Auschwitz death camp, concentration camps that the Nazis had. The rhetoric around fighting fascism resonates deeply in Russia, which made tremendous sacrifices battling Nazi Germany, fighting against Hitler in Nazi Germany in World War II. Critics say that Putin is exploiting the trauma of the war and twisting history for his own interests. Exploiting the trauma of the war and twisting history for his own interests. In his narrative, in Putin's own narrative in his head, the West overlooked the role the Soviet Union, Russia's predecessor state, the Soviet Union, played in the fight played in World War II. In the war's aftermath, the United States and other Western nations formed the NATO military alliance as a bulwark against the Soviet Union. Now Putin sees NATO as an existential threat, and Ukraine's bid for membership in NATO as a red line for Russia's security. Because Ukraine is right there on the border next to Russia. When Putin was growing up, quote, when Putin was growing up, the Second World War was at the center of Soviet identity, and the enemies were the fascists, said Timothy Snyder, a professor of history at Yale University. The irony, Professor Snyder said, is that Putin appears to be fighting a war the way the actual Nazis did. The irony now is that Putin appears to be fighting a war the way the actual Nazis did, invading neighbors on the pretext that borders are irrelevant. Invading neighbors on the pretext that borders are irrelevant. But Putin's attempt to recast Ukraine's government as fascist drew widespread condemnation on Thursday, February 24th, including from Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who is both Jewish and had family members die in the Holocaust. Vladimir Zelensky, president of Ukraine, is both Jewish and had family members die in the Holocaust. Three of Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's great uncles were executed as part of the German-led genocide of European Jews during World War II. The president said on a trip to Jerusalem in 2020. His grandfather, who was the brother of those killed, survived. Okay, so read the rest of this piece here from the Washington Post. Putin says he will denazify Ukraine. Here's the history behind that claim. Okay, Jalen, I want to go to clip 2. This is from NBC News. This is from clip 2. Ukraine continues to fend off Russian invasion. This is from Sunday, February 27th, NBC News. And let me see here. Russian forces advanced toward the capital city of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, as Ukrainians prepared for another night of brutal violence. New images of the destruction emerged as the death toll continues to rise. Let's go to clip 2, Jalen.
Okay, good evening to you. We are reporting tonight from a country fighting for its survival against one of the most sophisticated and largest militaries on the planet. I'm here in Lviv, where we're already hearing air sirens, but its citizens say they are ready to fight. New satellite imagery just in tonight appears to show hundreds of Russian military vehicles in a convoy heading towards Kyiv. A senior U.S. defense official says Putin's forces are 30 kilometers from the capital. The people we've met are resilient, they are defiant, and they are united. But how long can they hold off attack after brutal attack? Tonight, as Ukraine tries to fend off missile attacks and relentless shelling, a possible shift between the two sides. Ukraine and Russia agreeing to hold negotiations on the border of Belarus, their security guaranteed by Belarusian strongman and Putin ally Alexander Lukashenko. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky doubting the outcome but hoping for peace. For now, Ukrainian soldiers managing to stop Russian advances on Kyiv, but new images appear to show growing Russian ground forces pushing towards the capital. Russia still targeting Ukraine's infrastructure. A missile strike at an oil depot near Kyiv lit up the night sky. And in Kharkiv, an explosion at a gas pipeline as more heavy fighting broke out in the streets. Tanks burning alongside the roads. Fighters surrounded by destruction. The path of war marked by bombed out vehicles, charred roads, and buildings blown out. This resident saying, "My friend lives here, so I came to check. It is very bad." Innocent civilians caught in the crosshairs. This 9-story apartment building shelled. Civilians helping civilians any way they can. Their homes destroyed. One woman died. 20 people were rescued from the rubble as dozens more hid out in safety. The death toll is rising. At least 350 people have been killed, more than 1,500 injured. Still, the citizens of Ukraine are resolute. The mayor of Lviv, the cultural capital of this country, telling me even his wife will take up arms if need be. As a Ukrainian, how does that make you feel, especially as a Ukrainian leader? Have you felt pride for your people?
This great honor for me. My people today, like lions, and million people in different countries support our position. We fight for democracy in words.
And so many Ukrainians spent another night underground, in bomb shelters and subway stations, with more international help rolling in the form of supplies and weapons. Ukrainians are bracing for another bloody night.
All right, thanks, Jalen. Okay, that was from NBC Nightly News from Sunday, February 27th, 2022. Check that out at NBCnews.com. If we go back to the article from Al Jazeera that deals with Nigerian students, and then we'll go back to the phone lines here. Next story, we'll talk about Judge Ketanji Jackson being nominated by President Joe Biden to be the first African-American woman to sit on the U.S. Supreme Court. The Nigerian students caught in the Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, this is from February 27th, 2022 from AlJazeera.com. Let's see here. Okay, according to the U.S. military, Russia now has at least 50% of its estimated 150,000 strong invasion forces in Ukraine. Let's see here. Okay, so we see where are Ukrainians fleeing to. They have this map here as well. So you see Belarus is, Ukraine is here. You see Belarus is up here. Poland is here. Slovakia, Hungary, they're all around. Russia is at the border. Ukraine is here. Russia's at the border. Belarus is an ally of Russia. That is another border of Ukraine. We see the capital of Kyiv. We see Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, okay, all around Ukraine. And you have some Ukrainians and Africans who are trying to cross the border from Ukraine into Poland, okay? Poland will open 9 reception centers along its 535 kilometer or 332 mile long border with Ukraine. It is drafting plans to deal with up to 1 million refugees. Poland is drafting plans to deal with up to 1 million refugees. Now, Lalad Lawal, who is a who's a Nigerian medical student in Ukraine, third year Nigerian medical student in Ukraine, said there's no escape. Trains have stopped working. Most supermarkets are closed, and those that are open are running very low on food stocks. ATMs are not working, and everyone is desperately looking for money. Okay. Now, it's also important to note that the U.S. had been warning Vladimir Zelensky and Ukrainians for weeks that Russia was going to invade. And there was a lot of Ukrainians that didn't think it was possible because you have some Ukrainians who speak Russian. You have Ukrainians that have relatives in Russia. And one of the things, watching the coverage 24/7 on MSNBC and watching live interviews with people on the ground there in Ukraine, Ukrainian citizens, they did not think Vladimir Putin would actually do something like this and actually invade. Now, the U.S. had been telling them this was coming. The president, Vladimir Zelensky, was downplaying that this could happen. And here it is. Okay, we're coming up on the break. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Okay, stand by, everybody. Back from break in 4 minutes. Okay, give us a thumbs up or a heart if you like this broadcast. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. Turn on live notifications so you know when we go live, because Facebook doesn't notify everybody when we go live. Okay, stand by, everybody. The Ukraine had been invaded before, but they did not think Putin would do this. But the U.S. was telling them Putin is going to attack, and he was building up for weeks, and they told him this is going to happen. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation of Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, February 27th, 2022, and we are live. Okay, we're going to go, let's see here. I'm going to send you this clip here in just a second, Jalen. Also, because we're about to go to this other segment here of the show. All right. Be sure to register for the online classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. So if you like this type of historical information that I share here on the African History Network show, day in and day out, you're going to be blown away by the information in the classes. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, video clips, articles, and this one here we deal with thousands of years of history. We deal with ancient Africa, the Nile Valley region of Africa, ancient Egypt, Kemet, Nubia, Abyssinia, Ethiopia. We talk about Great Zimbabwe, Ghana, Songhai, Mali, the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, and what leads to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Next class is going to be Saturday, March 5th, 2022. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. Classes on sale $80, regularly $130. We also have a bundle pack here. You can register for both classes that I teach for $120. It's a $260 value. If you've taken any of my online classes, and I've been teaching these since 2017, if you've taken any of my online classes before, email me at TheAHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You'll get a 50% discount on the bundle pack. All right, let's go back. Let's go to this here. We're going to go to the Black News Channel here in just a minute, Jalen, and deal with Judge Ketanji Jackson. So wrapping up this segment here, and we'll talk more about this on Monday's show because we're here 6 days a week, as you know. Let's go back to the Al Jazeera. Okay. And before we leave this topic, I also want to go back to Vakil Lamini's Twitter page and see if there are any updates there also. Okay, this article from Al Jazeera came out today. And let's see, it goes on to talk about Samuel George, who's a first-year software engineer. Samuel George is a first-year software engineer student who fled Kyiv after the shelling. Fled Kyiv after the shelling and sirens got too much to handle. He said, "I drove from Kyiv. We are trying to survive. We don't want to die in a foreign country," Samuel George said. And let me see. He is, let's see, this is tell. Okay, I'm not sure if he's from Nigeria or South Africa. As Samuel George neared the Polish border, Samuel's luck ran out. He said he had a minor road accident with the vehicle carrying Ukrainians because the road was narrow. He said they took his money and stopped him from driving any further. He said, quote, "There are not officials, police, or military. They are not officials, police, or military. They are normal citizens who stopped us Africans from driving to the border." So I'm hearing reports of Africans trying to leave Ukraine being stopped at the border and being stopped from entering into Poland. Okay, which is, as we showed on the map, Poland borders Ukraine. They let Ukrainians pass through, but not us, Samuel George said. They let Ukrainians pass through, but not us. Now, I don't know how many Africans were stopped. I don't know. This is, so maybe tomorrow I'll have more details. Quote, I'm now walking to the border. I have no other option. I don't know how much further the border is. They even took our money. It is like they are not human beings, Samuel George said, adding that he could no longer talk on the phone because his hands were freezing in the sub-zero temperature. Now, on Saturday, February 26th, the Polish Ministry of Internal Affairs said more than 115,000 people had crossed into Poland from Ukraine. Okay, on Saturday, February 26th, the Polish Ministry of Internal Affairs said more than 115,000 people had crossed into Poland from Ukraine, adding that everyone from Ukraine was allowed to enter, even those without a valid passport. But for Samto and several other students, crossing the border into Poland has not been easy. And this is, just a second, we'll go back here. This is, which student was this? Samto Ora, O-R-A-H, a student at University of Telecommunications in Kyiv, was interviewed by Al Jazeera. Okay, and Samto Ora is Nigerian. Samto said, I will be heading to Nigeria from Poland if I am able to cross, but if I see a school offer around Shenzhen, I will take it up because I don't want my school life to be disrupted, he said as he joined the queue at the border gate. All right, so Samto is okay, he's at the University of Telecommunications. And all right. Okay, so that's the end of that article. We'll talk about this some more on Monday's show and give you some more updates. Check this out this is one of the latest articles here. This is from Al Jazeera.com. The Nigerian students caught in the Russian-Ukraine war. There's also one from BusinessInsider.com. Now, the one from Business Insider is from Saturday, February 26th. Thousands of African students who went to Ukraine to train to become doctors and engineers scrambled to escape the Russian offensive. This is from Saturday morning, February 26, 2022. And then you have one, BET picked one up today. There's also one from Reuters, Reuters.com. This is from Friday, February 25th. We talked about this in the first hour of the show. You're on your own, quote unquote, you're on your own. African students stuck in Ukraine seek refuge or escape route. Okay, that's from Reuters.com. Now, if we go back to I want to go back to her Twitter page here. All right, let me see. Hold on, let me close some of this stuff out. Just a second here. We try to go back to the Twitter page here of Lamini. Okay, Vakil Lamini, and she had this tweet from a few hours ago. She had this tweet from today. We're going to check and see if there are any updates after we go to the phone lines. This is what us blacks faced and are still facing. More still trying to get through, and it's the same racist cycle that keeps occurring. Some Africans are still trying to get through as well and are still going through the same traumatic experiences. So she was quoted in the article from BusinessInsider.com. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go. Who we have next, Jalen?
Next is Quentin.
Quentin. Okay, Quentin, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Detroit.
Okay, Detroit. Okay, go ahead.
My question is, back during the time of Hitler, how could you tell a Jew from a German?
Well, they instituted the Nuremberg laws. So they measured things like the width of their nose. There were different things. Part of developing the Nuremberg laws were based upon the segregation laws here in the U.S. Okay, so there's a piece from History.com that I talked about back during the International Day of Remembrance of the Holocaust, and it deals with how the how Hitler devised the Nuremberg laws. Okay, and this is one of the things they did. They looked at facial features, things like this. They had devices to measure the width of the nose, etc. You have any other questions? I'm gonna give some references. You have any other questions?
So if a Jewish person dressed up like a German, he could pass?
Dressed up like a German, dressed how?
However the German was dressing.
Well, it doesn't mean that, they looked at facial features. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean they dress like say Hasidic Jews dress today. It doesn't mean that they necessarily dress like that. Let me give some references, okay? Keep listening.
So the facial features were different from the Germans.
Yeah, facial features were different. Yeah, but the Germans were pushing the ideology of the Aryan master race, and they said that the Jews were an inferior race.
Oh, like they said we were inferior race.
Yeah, but they were both white. So they said they didn't look at the Jews as being a religion. They looked at them as being an inferior race. Okay. All right. Keep listening, man. We're coming up on a break. We're coming up on a break. Okay.
Right,
keep listening. Okay. Thanks. All right. We're coming up on a break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. 4 minutes. Back from break in 4 minutes. Back from break in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, February 27th, 2022, and we are live. All right. if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN Show. Paul, thanks for your support. Definitely appreciate that. Because some people find this hard to believe when I tell them this, but I don't get paid to do radio. So when you support us, this helps me to pay for all these services I use and help finance the African History Network, do the research, which is a lot of research and a lot of work. So $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN Show. Also, be sure to register for the online history classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. I teach that on Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a 10-week online class. So we just had a new session that just started up recently. As soon as you register, you can watch the class we just did this weekend. And we do 1,000 years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. That class is on sale $80, regularly $130. And then from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. I teach that on Tuesdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we have a bundle pack here. You can register for both classes, and it's greatly discounted. All right. So I want to go back to, okay, so we've got that. We're going to continue this story. We'll continue covering this, dealing with the African students in trying to get out of Ukraine. I've heard in cable news, I haven't heard anything about this. Maybe on Monday, they'll run some stories. I know Roland Martin will talk about this on Monday, Roland Martin Unfiltered. I want to switch gears here, and I want to get to this next story here, dealing with Judge Ketanji Jackson Brown, who was nominated by President Joe Biden on Friday to be she's the first African-American woman to be nominated to be a Supreme Court justice. But I'm not focused on like making history, but having an African-American woman who has lived experiences and has her credentials on the U.S. Supreme Court is extremely important. Now, we don't want to stop at just one, because Clarence Thomas he don't count. He's brain damaged. He don't count at all. I mean, he don't count to help us at all. He's brain damaged. But Judge Ketanji Jackson Brown has excellent credentials. I want to go to this clip here from the Black News Channel. Now, you're going to listen to 4 African-American attorneys who know more about Judge Ketanji Jackson Brown than a lot of these dumbasses on social media that don't do research, just running their mouths. Now, this is from Yadid Tawode's show on the Black News Channel, and I've interviewed Yadid before a few years ago on Roland Martin's nationally syndicated radio show, and they're talking about Judge Ketanji Jackson Brown's nomination, okay, and her credentials. Let's go to this clip, Jalen.
My life has been blessed beyond measure, and I do know that one can only come this far by faith.
Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson made history today when President Biden made it official by announcing her nomination for the U.S. Supreme Court. Jackson is the first Black woman ever nominated to sit on the nation's highest court. Good evening, this is Making the Case. I'm Yadid Tawode. Tonight, we're dedicating the entire hour to this historic day and talk about its significance, the confirmation hearing, and how Judge Jackson could influence the ideological makeup of the court. First, here are a few of Judge Jackson's career highlights. She's a Harvard Law graduate. She currently sits on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Judge Jackson is a former public defender and served as vice chair of the Sentencing Commission. And she once clerked for outgoing Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, whom she would replace if confirmed. Here to discuss the historical significance of this moment with these three brilliant voices, veteran prosecutor and BNC legal contributor Paul Henderson, trial attorney and crisis manager Monique Presley, and attorney and immediate past president of the National Bar Association, C.K. Hoffler. I love to have conversations with you, especially on this day, on such a historical moment. We know that, at least for me, this is one of those rare days where I'll remember where I was and what I was doing when it was made official that a Black woman was nominated to the Supreme Court. So I just want reaction to President Biden's pick. CK, to you first.
Well, good evening. It was, my reaction was where I was able to exhale. That's probably the best way to describe it. The appointment of Ketanji Brown Jackson to the U.S. Supreme Court, or the nomination at this point, and I'm claiming her victory that she's going to be confirmed without a question, is so historic on so many levels. Her background, immaculate. Her training, superior. Her all that she brings to the table is something new that, quite frankly, we have not seen on the U.S. Supreme Court since the late, great Thurgood Marshall. She's coming at a time in our history, and by the way, it's about time that a Black woman was nominated to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court, but she's coming at a time in our history where we desperately need diversity of views, of perspectives, and of, quite frankly, approach on the U.S. Supreme Court. She's going to be a great leader. She's going to bring a certain flavor that many of us can identify with, and she's going to be phenomenal. And this is what we need at this time in our history. So I say kudos and bravo to the president for taking a step, for living out the promise that he made when he was campaigning, and for enabling history to be made with this extraordinary woman who is going to make a difference for decades to come.
Y'all, my pup Miles definitely has an opinion. He's probably here and barking right now. So please ignore him. Monique, I want to get your thoughts.
It's overwhelming. It's wonderful. I'm full of wonder about the fact that we actually got here. I'm thankful to the president, as CK, as Madam President herself just said. I'm thankful that he kept his promise. Black women are owed this and more. And so this is a start. And I really am excited for soon-to-be Justice Jackson. She has handled her career immaculately, and she has lived an extraordinarily blessed life to this point, as she said so herself. So I'm just glad that I'm able to be here to witness it, and I am confident that she is ready for any and every challenge that she will face in this confirmation process and then beyond when she's actually on the court.
Paul, you're first.
Okay, pause it right there, Jalen. Pause it right there. Okay, those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We're going to go for a few more minutes. The African History Network on Facebook and Michael Imhotep on YouTube. Be sure you can support us through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. We're here 6 days a week. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also register for the online classes I teach on the weekend. If you want me to do a presentation for your group organization, email me at AHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Remember, right now is correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. All right, stand by. Let me cue this up. Just a second here. Because we're only on Sundays, we're on for 2 hours on 9:10 a.m. WFDF here in Detroit. And then after that, I have to operate the boards myself. So just a minute here. Let me cue this clip back up. We'll continue this, then I have to get out of here because it's been a busy week and weekend. Just a second here. This is from the Black News Channel. And also read the article. There are a number of different articles you can read. We'll talk about this some on Monday's show probably as well. Read this article here from NBC News. Hold on. Read this article here from NBC News. What's this? Which one is it? Biden introduces Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Hold on. It went to the next article, it looks like. Just a second. Find that one. Biden introduces Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. This is right here. You can read this, and they have some links in here to other articles, some videos, give background information about her credentials. Okay, let's go to this here. Let's do this. And this is from NBC News, this one here. Let me cue this back up. Let's go to this clip here. This is from the Black News Channel from Friday, February 25th, making the case with Yodit Tewolde. Let's cue this back up.
Him being flanked by that she.
Okay, so this is Monique Presley, attorney Monique Presley. You see her each week as a panelist on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
My pup Miles definitely has an opinion, as you probably hear him barking right now. So please ignore him. Monique, I want to get your thoughts.
It's overwhelming. It's wonderful. I'm full of wonder about the fact that we actually got here. I'm thankful to the president, as CK, as Madam President herself just said. I'm thankful that he kept his promise. Black women are owed this and more. And so this is a start. And I really am excited for soon to be Justice Jackson. She has handled her career immaculately, and she has lived an extraordinarily blessed life to this point, as she said so herself. So I'm just glad that I'm able to be here to witness it. And I am confident that she is ready for any and every challenge that she will face in this confirmation process and then beyond when she's actually on the court.
Paul, your first reaction when you learned that Judge Jackson was the nominee?
You know, I felt both validated and I felt excited. And to me, the moment that I'm going to remember is when Biden was sitting there and introducing her. To see that image of him being flanked by, to his left, Kamala Harris, and to his right, Judge Jackson, was like, here we come. He is announcing the victory. He is announcing the potential. He is announcing new leadership. And once again, we have a Black woman coming to save this country, the court, fill in the blank. But I clapped for it, and I was personally excited by what her leadership means to me. It feels like a validation of being seen, that the images that we see of the Supreme Court, that we've all seen, we will be able to look at it differently because of her presence. And her presence will echo experiences that we all have shared. And by all, I mean intentionally and specifically communities of color that share in her background and her shared experiences in this country, in the legal profession, and on the bench are all uplifted by what she brings to this courtroom and what she brings to leadership now, because there's so many important things that are in the future. And I'm just excited that the voice in the room, that the voice writing the decisions, that the voice arguing on behalf of this country is now, that definition is broader. It's reflective of a community that I'm familiar with. It's reflective of experiences that I've lived. It means more to more people, and a door has been opened that hopefully will never be closed again about her representation and leadership in the Supreme Court. It was all of that in those moments, just in hearing her name and seeing her face and hearing her story. Everything felt validated to me personally. That's what I felt. That was the moment.
Well, let's take a listen to President Biden from earlier today describing the significance of this moment.
During this process, you look for someone who, like Justice Breyer, has a pragmatic understanding that the law must work for the American people. Someone who has historical perspective to understand that the Constitution is a resilient charter of liberty. Someone with the wisdom to appreciate that the Constitution protects certain inalienable rights.
And the sacred principles
rights that fall within the most fundamental personal freedoms that our society recognizes. In the end, someone with extraordinary character will bring to the Supreme Court an independent mind, uncompromising integrity, and with a strong moral compass and the courage to stand up for what she thinks is right. For too long, our government, our courts, haven't looked like America. And I believe it's time that we have a court that reflects the full talents and greatness of our nation with a nominee of extraordinary qualifications.
CK, this isn't just an important moment for Black America, but America as a whole, right? And for those who may not understand why or care, please expound.
Well, certainly, Yadid. I mean, when we have a more diverse court, a more diverse U.S. Supreme Court, that will impact every single major decision that affects our communities and our society, whether you're Black or white. And so it's vitally important to have difference of opinions, difference of backgrounds, difference of experiences, and that's what she brings to the table. Indeed, Ketanji Brown Jackson is going to be a strong leader on the U.S. Supreme Court, and we all should want to have that because this is the highest court of the land, and we can't afford to have it sway too much on one side or the other. She will be a leveraging factor, if you will, and she will balance out this court in a way that's very significant for decades to come. So this is a great moment in history.
CK, Monique, and Paul, please stand by. We've got more on Judge Jackson's.
All right. So check that out from the Black News Channel. That is Yodit Tawalde, the making the case. She's a brilliant attorney, brilliant legal analysis. So on this panel, she had three African-American attorneys. She's an attorney herself. She had Paul Henderson, who's a Black News Channel legal contributor, Paul Henderson. She had trial attorney Monique Presley and attorney C.K. Hoffler as well. Three African-American attorneys who were knowledgeable about Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, unlike a lot of people talking on social media who don't do research, have no idea what the hell they're talking about. So check that out. And they have other segments at the Black News Channel on YouTube. Now, there was, so you have this article here from NBC News. It's a good article, and they have some links to other articles here for more background information. Biden introduces Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson as Supreme Court nominee. And then you have, okay, so they have some clips here as well. You've got, let's see, you have this piece here from, there's a number of articles I've read. I've been reading about it for the past few weeks. I ain't just, well, first of all, here on the show, number one, I told you whoever gets nominated probably be somebody who's already been confirmed by the Senate. She's been confirmed by the Senate twice, 3 times if you count when she was confirmed to be on the U.S. Sentencing Board. Okay, so she's been confirmed 3 times by the U.S. Senate. She was confirmed in June of 2021 by the Senate and got 53, and she got 3 Republicans to vote for her, including Lindsey Graham, who's crying sour grapes now because Lindsey Graham wanted Judge J. Michelle Childs, who's from South Carolina, to get the nomination. So now Lindsey Graham is trashing Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, saying that the liberals won out. She's too liberal, but Lindsey Graham voted for her in June of 2021, okay, for the DC Court of Appeals. She's a federal judge from the DC Court of Appeals right now. When she was up for her Senate confirmation in June of 2021 for that federal bench, 3 Republicans voted for her: Senator Lisa Murkowski of Hawaii, Senator Susan Collins of Maine, and punk-ass Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Now Lindsey Graham is trashing her after he voted for her. She was all right 8 months ago. Now, according to Lindsey Graham is attacking her. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a couple other articles here to read. Then I gotta get out of here. You have this one here from New York Times, deals with as a public defender. Let me see here. As a public defender, Supreme Court nominee helped clients others avoid it. Help clients others avoid it. Okay, this is from the New York Times. We'll pull this up. All right, we've got this one here. So there have been 150, a total of 115 U.S. Supreme Court justices. All except 6 have been white men. The article that I showed from CNN, it was 113 in 2018 when that article from CNN came out. Read this one here from the New York Times. Hold on, I gotta close some more of these out. Okay, just a second here. I'm trying to I had to close some of these tabs out. Okay, as a public defender, Supreme Court nominee help clients others avoid it. Ambitious lawyers usually become prosecutors. Ketanji Brown Jackson worked on behalf of criminal defendants and Guantanamo detainees. This is from February 26 by Charlie Savage for the New York Times. After the Supreme Court's landmark 2004 Guantanamo Bay a ruling that Guantanamo Bay prisoners could file lawsuits challenging their indefinite detention, the federal public defender, so she was a federal public defender, in the District of Columbia, took on several cases and assigned a young lawyer in his office to handle them, Ketanji Brown Jackson. They involved complex legal issues that were just being worked out, and it needed someone who was incredibly bright and an incredibly good lawyer. Let's see, lawyers who harbor ambitions to be a judge, as she clearly did, having written in her high school yearbook that a judgeship was her goal, typically serve as prosecutors who put criminals in prison. If confirmed, Judge Jackson would be the modern court's first justice with experience as a public defender. That's since Thurgood Marshall, okay? First public defender as a Supreme Court justice since Thurgood Marshall. She also had to navigate politics of having represented unpopular clients. At her confirmation to be a district court judge in 2012, for example, Senator Charles E. Grassley, Chuck Grassley, of Iowa, who's still a senator. He's damn near 100 years old, Chuck Grassley. Grassley challenged her about her Guantanamo work, saying her record raised, quote, some concern about how you will handle terrorism cases that may come before you. But Chuck Grassley, you getting endorsed by a man who incited domestic terrorists, Donald Trump. You're accepting the endorsement of Trump. You were at a Trump rally to get his endorsement. Jackson assured Senator Grassley that she believed that terrorists posed a danger to the United States and that the country was at war with them while distancing herself from the Guantanamo cases she worked on. She said in all of those situations, the views that were expressed were the views of my clients that I represented, she told Senator Grassley. He's probably so old he don't remember. Quote, the briefs did not necessarily represent my personal views with regard to the war on terror or anything else. Judge Jackson has deep roots in thinking about criminal law from multiple perspectives. One of her uncles was sentenced to life in prison for cocaine charges, but another one of her uncles was Miami's chief of police. A third uncle was a sex crimes detective, and her brother worked as a police officer in Baltimore before he took a job as an investigator in the same federal public defender's office where she had mostly handled appeals. Okay, read the rest of this article here because we ran out of time. We're way over time. As a public defender, Supreme Court nominee helped clients, others avoid it. That's from the New York Times. Then there's a good article here from the Washington Post that I read from a few days ago. This is from February 25th. What to know about Ketanji Brown Jackson, Biden's pick for Supreme Court. This is from the Washington Post also. And do we have, let me see if we could pull this up. What to know about. Okay, this is from the Washington Post. Check this one out as well. This is from February 25, Friday, February 25th, 2022. What to know about Ketanji Brown Jackson, Biden's pick for the Supreme Court. This is from February 25th, 2022. And okay, so they talk about background and support. She wants support from some Republicans. We talked about that. They deal with that liberals really like her. A dozen liberal groups sent a letter to Biden championing Judge Jackson without mentioning her name. They like her background, working with some of the most disadvantaged people in the criminal justice system. She would be the first public defender on the modern court. One of her big decisions was on separation of powers in the Trump era, dealing with Trump White House counsel Don McGahn. When it came to Don McGahn having to testify, being subpoenaed by Congress. She played a key role in getting her uncle out of prison. Okay, we talked about that as well. Her uncle's sentence was eventually commuted by President Barack Obama. President Barack Obama commuted a lot of people's sentences. She says, okay. All right, so read the rest of this here. Read the rest of this article. We're way over time. We'll talk about this some more this week. Okay, be sure to sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, the 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, the 22828. On Monday's show, we'll share some segments from when I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered this past week. We just ran out of time today. Be sure to support the African History Network, $ the TheAHNShow through Cash App if you like the type of information we shared with you today. If you learned something, you can support the African History Network $5, $10, $15, $2,500, whatever it is. So says keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills, etc. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time, Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to register for the online classes. I teach on the weekend. Okay. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Okay, so we have the information on the homepage of our website. I'm going to post a link here. As soon as you register, you can watch the classes we did this weekend. There's bonus content that you can watch. You also get 15 bonus lectures from me as well when you register for Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. The Michael Imhotep 15 DVD bundle pack with 15 lecture bundle pack. We'll have that uploaded in digital format. So you get 15 of my bonus lectures from me that you can watch also when you register for this class as well. Okay, we have to get out of here. Remember, the African History Network can focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.